Welcome to the 2024 Halloween special. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are starting our 2024 Halloween special. That's right. It's time to get this going. And if you remember our theme from the announcement video last month, we are going around the world with horror this year. So, the theme for the Halloween special this year is just movies from around the world. Every movie for the Halloween special is going to be from a different country and is going to probably kind of have a different focus because of that, but I don't know for sure. They're going to probably feel very different compared to the others because of just how these different countries make their films, how they, create their movies. And I'm very curious to see like the kinds of differences that this breeds with this year's choices. So because of this, I chose some really interesting films that I have never heard of and probably never would have. And that includes today's, because today we're going to France for the Vourdalak. The Vourdalak is a vampire movie. I do know this. That is all I know about it. It's a vampire movie and it's French. Which is going to be interesting because when I think of vampires, I obviously think of Count Dracula, I think of aristocracy, that kind of thing. Because vampires are often seen as, or often portrayed as being like, high society, a count, a lord, stuff like that. Even in Baldur's Gate 3, the main vampire enemy that you end up facing, Cazador, is a high society lord in Baldur's Gate. So, yeah, it's a trope. Vampires throughout their long lifespans and everything gain power. They gain that high standing, and it allows them to do their vampirely deeds pretty easily. Now, when I also think of aristocracy, I do kind of think of France. Because I think of stuff like Marie Antoinette, the different kings that France has had, the beheadings with the French Revolution and whatnot. I think of stuff like that. When I think of France, aristocracy, royalty are things that come to mind. Outside of just, typical stuff like French cuisine and music and whatnot. Believe it or not, there's more I think about France with than Ratatouille. um, and pretty good animated shows like Wakfu. But I also do think of the aristocracy, and I think with that kind of two sides coming together here, vampires and France both kind of making me think of that, I think this could be interesting if it does go that route. Um, I don't really know anything about the story of this. I don't know anything about the characters or obviously any actors that are in this. But I'm very curious to see what this is like. Because I've seen some French animated films, but I don't think I've seen any, like, live action French movies. Unless it was like a movie that's like co-produced in France and another country. And then I can't even think of anything off the top of my head with that either. I think mostly everything I've seen from France in terms of television stuff has been animated, and well, not just television, but television and film has been animated. So this is going to be a new experience for me in general, and I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see what kind of horror France can produce. So we're going to get into it and hope that this first Halloween special movie reaction ends up proving to be pretty good. I have no idea what to expect, but let's just get into it. Cutting in here real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I do pre-record them during the week, but upload them on the weekend. We also have gaming content every day of the week over on the Princess of Gaming channel. We have Horizon Forbidden West every other day, Baldur's Gate 3 every day. Every Wednesday and Sunday, we have Beyond Two Souls, and we have Poppy Playtime on Saturdays. Don't forget to click the link in the description below to get to today's video. I redirect everything due to copyright. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video for more awesome content like this in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get to today's reaction. And we are back, and we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I'm laughing to myself here because as I was opening this up, I'm thinking about the movie and kind of how unexpected it was in a lot of different ways. This is, by the way, this movie came out last year. This is a 2023 movie. I bet you would not have been able to tell that. So I found out at the end, apparently, that script that was on screen, apparently what it said was the entire line about if I don't return in 6 days, say a prayer for me. It was that entire thing that Gorash had told his family before. And the same, except this time it was from Zdenka's perspective. And so it was like basically more confirmation other than just chewing on the shroud that she is a Vourdalak now. But yeah, this movie was unexpected in a few different ways. Like I said going into this, I didn't know anything. I didn't know what to expect at all. I didn't know anything about the story. I didn't know anything about the actors. All I knew was that it was vampires. And so going into this, I was pretty much entirely blind. I didn't even know like the specifications of this version of vampires. This Slavic folklore version. And I still am not 100% sure on like every little bit of information, but we got a little bit of lore in there in regards to that. In regards to like, I guess they can't be killed. They have to basically be like staked to the ground to keep them in place, and you could stop them like by burning down the family house and stuff, things like that. But what surprised me about this film is the movie comes across as like very poorly made. I kind of want to check the budget on this. I should have the page still up. I do not. Hold on. Here we go. I want to check the budget on this. I am not seeing the budget listed here. I see what it made in the box office. And apparently it premiered at the Venice Film Festival. Hold on, let me see. The Vourdalak budget. Okay, according to what I'm seeing here, there doesn't seem to be much, of, if any, information on the budget of it. But it made, 78,000. Which, I guess that's good. I don't know, to be fair. I just wanted to see, like, how much it made compared to the budget, but I guess we don't know. but it seems very low budget. There's not like a lot of big set pieces or anything. There's not like a huge amount of effects. And the effects that are there a lot of times are very, let's be honest, mediocre at best. The puppet with the Vourdalak with Gorsha was so unexpectedly silly. But like I said, I think that kind of adds some charm to it. It's surprisingly charming and funny at times. And not in a bad way, not in a way where it's like, oh, it feels like off that it's funny. No, it feels like almost scary that it's funny. Like you almost kind of laugh at certain points, but then it's like you feel like almost kind of bad because it's like actually freaky. And there's that one sequence, the first night sequence, like we see the Marquis like sitting there in bed, and like you see the Vourdalak, you see Gorsha crawling along the ceiling in the background. It's like you can barely see it, but you see it, and it's like that is good. And that entire sequence was amazing. That was the best sequence of the film. It was so well done. It just felt like it was scary, honestly. But this movie also has a big layer of tragedy to it, and it seems like the kind of mythology surrounding the Vourdalak just generally does too. Because the Vourdalak apparently likes to focus on feeding on its family first and foremost. It prioritizes those close to it. And that just is tragic by nature. Because you see this family fall. You see this family, end up being completely taken down and corrupted and killed through the Vourdalak. And the Vourdalak, again, Gorsha, gaslights and gatekeeps, but does not girl boss. He very much controls and manipulates the family, especially Yegor. Like, especially him. And the others resist it, but they're eventually taken in by things too. The son, oh God, I've been saying his name throughout the entire film, and now I forget it. Piotr. Piotr, like, finally stands up to him and finally fully embraces who he is, and he gets shot in the head for it because he acts on impulse. Because of, let's be honest, the manipulation that he was put through by his family, by both his brother and his father. Anya is turned into a Vourdalak because her growing insanity leads her to knowingly go into her son's embrace, even though she knows he's a Vourdalak. She understands that. But at the same time, she doesn't care because, as she says, it's like, how can you keep a mother from kissing her son? The son that was taken from her. She knew she was going to her death, but she didn't care. She wanted to kiss her son one last time. And Yegor just fell apart from everything happening. We don't know how Zdenka was turned. We actually don't know that. It's never revealed. We just know at some point after she had left that map and everything for the Marquis, after she had left that during the night, at some point she was turned. She had probably gone to that cliff to throw her off, but unfortunately was probably like finally the process finally finished before she could. This entire family was destroyed because of this. And it's hard to see. Like, the movie doesn't rely on like typical scares in that kind of way that you would think. It's not like a slasher film or anything like that. It's not like a lot of supernatural horror films where it's like you're constantly like seeing the monster or supernatural creature attacking people and killing them. That it's a lot more subdued. It's a lot more calm, and that almost kind of makes it scarier. And again, the fact that Gorsha, the Vourdalak, is there the entire time, manipulating them. Well, not the entire time, but you know what I mean. Manipulating them, controlling them, and just affecting how they act and think. He even, like, forces them to do that dance and everything. It's like that's almost kind of creepier. That he's not hiding in the shadows, he's just there. And, like, yeah, in a lot of vampire lore, you'll see the vampires, like, interacting with the main characters. You see Dracula interact with Jonathan Harker, and so on and so forth. But once, like, the vampire thing is revealed, they become more of a monster, usually. And they're not usually just, like, upfront and interacting with everyone, like, as if nothing's wrong, almost. It's a very different vibe and feeling. And I want to actually see real quick here. What people thought of this. So let me go to Rotten Tomatoes real quick. This has a 96%. It is certified fresh. And the audience score is 89%. So this is actually extremely well received. Also it's adapted from a novel that predates Dracula. So this is actually an older vampire story than Dracula. That's interesting. So, some critic reviews. Danny Lay from the Financial Times says delightfully skewed. The movie puts the dead in deadpan. Phil Hode from The Guardian says a delirious and oddly agreeable stopover. Sarah Michelle Fetters from MovieFreak.com says flippant humor slowly gives way to an unavoidable onslaught of anxiety that overwhelmed my senses, leading to haunting final images I will uncomfortably savor for quite some time. Wow, that's praise. Romy Norton of Film Focus Online says The Vourdalak is a quirky, slightly bizarre gothic comedy. I wouldn't call it a gothic comedy. It has comedic elements to it for sure, but I wouldn't call it a gothic comedy. The artistic exploration of gothic horror makes this film a splendid and strange surprise. Okay. Monty Lee Stormer from MovieRealist.com says this story is pulled from oral myths and superstition where the undead walk in the daylight. I noted that. And the signs of sickness aren't silver and mirrors, but saliva and shadows. That's a good view of it. John L., this is an audience review now, says different take on traditional vampires. The puppet was definitely unsettling. Absolutely. Worth the watch for sure. Zane W. says the Vourdalak is a chilling delight with whispers of shadow that dance in the night. Poetry, apparently. Some unnamed audience member says solid horror movie with some gruesome images, eerie atmosphere, and good acting. Rex S. says, interesting to look at and filmed with a deliberately hazy 60s to 70s stock look. Yeah. Look, I mentioned that it's surprising that this movie only came out last year. It feels so much older. And that definitely feels intentional. Absolutely. Features an intriguing character design. but ultimately it's a slow slog. It is a little slow. It absolutely is. It absolutely is a little slow, especially at first. But once it really kicks off, it really does kick off. Once it really starts going, if you can hold out until then and just kind of take everything in, because the early portions of this film are to get you prepared. They're to get you to know these characters, to understand what's going on, and to set up the mythology and the lore of the Vourdalak. You're you're supposed to be kind of taking it all in at first. And yeah, it can be a little slow, it can take a little bit to get going. But again, once it does, it really shines. Like again, like that scene where it's at night and everything and you see everything happening like in the background and all those flashing images and stuff, and then it gets dark and you have like the lights like flashing on and off, and it's so good. It's so good. Oh Jesus. Sorry about that. The OBS is freaking out. I mentioned this had been happening, like this had happened yesterday. I believe I mentioned in this video. But yeah, this had been happening yesterday too. I don't know why there's like this encoding overload issue with OBS that's going on. I'm gonna have to probably reset my computer to figure that out. Oh, I say yesterday, by the way. Yesterday, as of when I'm recording this. Got to keep in mind, you're seeing this on Saturday. I'm recording this during the week. You got to remember that. So, I should say Monday, I was having these issues as well. But yeah, it's like there's a lot to love about this movie. The style of it, the low budget and effects being so sloppy and weird, help add some charm and unsettling imagery to it. And it genuinely has some good tension and scares. It's not like the scariest movie. It's not the most tense movie out there. I've seen a lot of horror movies on this channel, and I've seen a lot of horror movies on my own time. And this would not be at the top of the list. But for what it was, I really enjoyed it. Also, I love that it includes a character who is gender nonconforming and is like probably the best character in the film. Like, if I'm being completely honest, he's probably the most likable, best character in the entire movie. And it sucks that he dies, but you know, everyone dies. Literally every main character dies. Some of them come back, but you know. I kind of want to check out this actor. Or at least get his name here just to give him some credit where it's due for his performance here. I apologize if I mispronounce his first name here. Vasily Schneider? Oh, he's about the same age as my brother. That's odd. He was born in 1999, same year as my brother. Oh, apparently he was in a 2024 Count of Monte Cristo adaptation. That's interesting. And he started his professional acting career in 2009 with The Master Key. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's a Canadian movie. Okay. Interesting. He hasn't been in a lot, though. He's only been in 5 movies, sorry. He started, no wait, he would have been in 6. Yeah, Master Key for some reason isn't shown in his filmography. But he's like in The Count of Monte Cristo, The Vourdalak. He was in a movie called Notre Dame. He was in one called Forever Young, which is a comedy drama. And then he was in one in 2019 called Slut in a Good Way. Ooh, what? And he's Canadian, by the way. He's a Canadian actor. He did a great job. He did a fantastic job, and I loved his character, so I just wanted to give a little credit to him. Um, yeah, and this movie was surprisingly like really good. Again, not the best horror movie I've seen, not the scariest by any means, but I was enthralled by it. I thought it ended up being really entertaining. And again, I would have never even known about this movie if I didn't choose to do this around the world theme for the Halloween special this year. I would have never even heard of this. But I am so glad I did. It is such a unique, interesting take on a vampire story. And again, it's based off of a really early vampire novel that predates even Dracula, and that's wild in and of itself. This is pre-Dracula vampire, so that's really cool to have found out. Um, but yeah, tell me what you thought down in the comments below. Tell me your thoughts on this film. What did you think of the acting, the older style and budget to the movie, and just, various things like that. Um, what did you think of the puppet of that one scene, the night scene, the horror night scene, and so much more? Let me know your thoughts, and thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. Next week, for the second part of our Halloween special, we go to Japan with House. I know even less about that movie than I do about this one, so that's also pretty interesting. We'll see how that ends up going next time. Till then, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all then.